It's a scam.
Oh, that's painful. That is painful. He's doing duck lips. You know he's looking in the camera right now, looking at himself, and he's making faces because he thinks he wants to look cute. Like an Instagram model. This story is about Shane Vaughn, but I want to give you a little bit of lead up before we get into the main story. So if you remember, back in 2021, Trump started supporting the vaccine. He was encouraging people to get vaccinated. To my surprise, I was truly proud of the guy for coming out and saying that, right? Well, his supporters did not like that very much. And one of them, actually a lot of them, came out against him and started complaining and yelling and started pointing out little inconsistencies and cracks that they saw in Trump's persona and in his ideas. This is one of those people. This came out mid-December 2021. This is criticizing Donald Trump for endorsing vaccines. Give this a listen.
All right, guys. I know this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, and
look at her hat. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. Pink, let's go, Brandon hat. Love it. Okay, let's keep listening.
All right, guys. I know this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, and it truly does pain me to say it, but Donald Trump. He is now trying to say that by us doubting the jab, that we're playing right into their hands. What? All we care about is exposing and knowing the truth. And he's going to sit here and continuously lie to us to push this narrative and the product that he wants to take full credit for. Do you guys not see the problem with this?
God, I love how worked up she is over this. This is genuinely amusing to me that she's so angry and upset over this whole thing. Keep listening.
We have to remember that the whole goal is depopulation by shooting you up with their experimental poison.
Wow. Okay, now we've entered conspiracy land. No. Why would anybody want to depopulate the earth? This is such a widespread conspiracy. It blows my mind. Governments do not want depopulation. They don't want that. They don't want fewer people. They need the economy to at least be at replacement level, or their economy is going to go down. Have you ever looked at the stock market over like a 30-year period? Why don't we just do that right now? There are a couple of indexes. We'll call them indexes for the stock market, okay? There's the NASDAQ and there's the Dow Jones. And what those two things are, it's basically a collection of like, I don't know, 1,000 companies or something. 1,000 of the United States' biggest companies, publicly traded companies. It takes their stock value, like the stock price, how much it costs to buy one share of the company, and it adds all like 1,000 of them together. And that's how you get the Dow Jones point numbers. So right now, if you look, you'll see the Dow Jones Industrial Average is at 33,916. What that actually means is there are a certain number of companies, I don't know how many are in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 1,000 or something. You take all 1,000 of them, you take their share prices, you add them together, and you get 33,916, right? This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average since 1982, okay? All the way back to 1982. It's an upward trend. You see a couple little hiccups here. So 2002, it crashed, starts going back up. 2008, it crashed, starts going back up. 2020, it crashed. This is probably the pandemic. Or, yeah, this looks like the result of the pandemic. It crashed. Going back up. And then we had another down round in 2022. It will go back up. Do you know why it'll go back up? Because when a company fails, they don't leave that $0.00 in the average. Say Netflix's stock drops to zero because they failed as a company and they go bankrupt and they completely close their doors. You don't now have 1,000 companies, one of them having shares worth $0.00. They just remove Netflix from the equation and add a new one in. By its nature, the Dow Jones Industrial Average will always go up. It will always go up. The stock market will always trend upward. Governments want the economy to grow like this. They look forward to the economy growing like this. You know what happens if the economy isn't at replacement level? Do you know what happens if there aren't enough new workers to replace the old ones? This trend does not happen anymore. It just goes down because these companies are worth less. They have fewer employees, fewer customers, and it's across the board. It's not just one company failing anymore. Every company starts trending downward because they don't have the production ability or the client base anymore. They need the country to be at least at replacement level. They need the population to grow. It is so completely absurd for anybody to believe, like, the idea of a conspiracy theory where people think the government's trying to depopulate the planet is absurd at its face. I know I went off on a tangent there, but I felt like I needed to address it because it's ridiculous. And it's spoken by people who obviously do not understand the basics of Economics 101. Let's keep listening.
We have to remember that the whole goal is depopulation by shooting you up with their experimental poison.
Not experimental, not poison. It's a vaccine, and it has saved millions of people's lives. Just got to put that on record.
A lot of you are probably going to say, oh, well, I don't care what he does because this is about medical freedom as long as we have the choice. He's not even giving you the choice.
Dude, I love how worked up she is, really. I really do. I love how worked up she is. Donald Trump isn't even giving you the choice. Wow, this is quite the screen grab right here. I apologize for that. So Donald Trump isn't even giving us the choice to get vaccinated or not, huh? Okay. Explain, please. I'm listening.
If you go to his hotel in New York, you have to show proof of papers.
Okay, proof of papers is a loaded term and incredibly disingenuous to use in this case, first of all. Second of all, hotels in New York City are not required to check vaccine records. And as far as I know, Donald Trump's hotel doesn't either. I think that New York City decided that it would be unethical to require vaccine records for people to get into a hotel room in the city because some people check into hotels specifically to get over COVID without putting their family members at risk, basically. So if they suddenly made it so that you had to have a vaccine to get into this or whatever else, it would serve no purpose. It would be unethical. So I'm very, very doubtful of her claim that Trump's hotel requires vaccine records. Really not sure of that. Oh, and one more thing. Donald Trump isn't forcing every person in America to march their way through his hotel. You could say he's not giving you the choice if that were the case. If he were forcing you to walk through his hotel. Okay, I get that. That's not what's happening.
Trump do some great things while in office? Absolutely. Was I a supporter? I was a huge one. But there's no denying that what he is doing is evil. And if we continue to just support someone that does not have our best interest, then that makes us no better than the left. We have to be willing to come out and state when there's a problem. And I personally think that there is a huge problem.
See, I find this so interesting that she's viewing this obviously through like a pessimistic and uncharitable lens now. She views Donald Trump in a pessimistic and uncharitable way. She would, I'd be willing to bet, she would have done absolutely anything for the dude a year prior to this. Because she's obviously a big part of the Trump cult, based on the hat alone. But he did one thing to get under her skin, one thing that contradicted her ideology, and she had to pick which thing she's going to run with. Is she going to be anti-vax, or is she going to be anti-Trump? And I guess she picked anti-Trump. Interestingly enough, a lot of people chose anti-Trump. Trump was part of their personality, and so was being anti-vax. And when Trump came in and started endorsing the vaccine, it forced them into a situation, like an unwinnable situation in their mind, where they had to choose between being anti-vax or anti-Trump. She chose to be anti-vax and anti-Trump. Greg Locke, Pastor Greg Locke, did the exact same thing when Trump came out in support of the vaccines. Early January 2022, Greg Locke says this.
I'm telling you right now, on the authority of the Bible, if Donald Trump does not get out in front of this vaccine nonsense, he is going to lose his voter base in the next coming election. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
This dude was one of Trump's deepest supporters. One of his deepest supporters. And here we are. He is effectively saying Trump's going to lose my vote if he doesn't come out against vaccines. I mean, earlier in this clip, I didn't play the whole thing, but earlier he said, I'm sick of Trump worship in this house. We're here for Jesus, blah, 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 which is like the exact opposite of what he was saying just 6 months before. Trump's endorsement of the vaccine completely flipped everybody who was on his side, except for one person. You know who that one person was? Our old buddy Shane Vaughn. That's who. Our old buddy Shane Vaughn. Check this one out. Early January 2022. This clip, I believe, from Shane Vaughn, I think this is a response to Greg Locke saying that about the vaccine. So listen to what Shane Vaughn says in response to Greg Locke.
Now, many people have told me that, they're losing faith in Donald Trump because of his stand on the vaccine.
Weird to phrase it like that, right? Losing faith in Donald Trump. You're supposed to have faith in Donald Trump, like you have faith in Jesus. I don't know. Just weird word to pick.
Let me correct you. You're not losing faith in Donald Trump, because it was not Donald Trump that put Donald Trump in that office. 4 years before Donald Trump was ever known about running for office, Yahweh, the God of heaven, spoke through the mouth of a prophet.
He may be talking about Mark Taylor. There's a Mark Taylor prophecy about Donald Trump becoming president. It's ridiculous. He just saw Donald Trump talking about maybe running on Twitter, and he said he's going to run in 2012, and he didn't. And then he said he's going to run in 2016, and he did. It was just by pure chance. Mark Taylor isn't the only one who did that, though. Kim Clement also prophesied, quote-unquote, that Donald Trump would run for president, and eventually he did. He prophesied this, quote-unquote, all the way back in 2007. Didn't run in 2008, didn't run in 2012, finally ran in 2016. So it's really ridiculous, honestly, to even call these prophecies, but that's what he's talking about. Shane Vaughn's either talking about the Kim Clement prophecy or the Mark Taylor prophecy. Not sure which one.
Yahweh, the God of heaven, spoke through the mouth of a prophet and said that a man named Donald would be put into the White House, and that man Donald would be the servant of Yahweh to restore America. And guess what else that God said? That this man would serve 2 terms.
I think he's referring to the Kim Clement prophecy, quote unquote. We've covered it before. I just covered it recently. If you're curious, just go to my channel and type Kim Clement, and the first video that pops up will probably be me talking about it.
So if you're losing faith in Donald Trump, you're really losing faith in the God that put him in office. And that's a dangerous thing. Okay,
so that's Shane Vaughn's stance on it. The guy was also anti-vax. In addition to all the others, he was also anti-vax. And then Donald Trump comes out in favor of the vaccines. And what does Shane Vaughn do? He stands behind Donald Trump. I find it so fascinating to watch different people react. Like, they have 2 parts of their personality, right? They've got their anti-vax side and their love of Trump. Now, which one is going to win out? In this girl's case, the anti-vax side won. In Greg Locke's case, the anti-vax side won. In this guy's case, Shane Vaughn, the love of Trump won out. The guy loves Trump, loves him. He came out with a brand new clip just the other day. Late April 2022 is when it came out. He had some things to say about Donald Trump. So let's see what he's saying now. That last one came out late January. This one's late April, a few months difference. Listen to what he has to say about Trump now.
This is about a God that appointed a man. And you see, I've got enough Italian in me to know what loyalty means. Here's the way it works for me. I love loyalty. Loyalty is a forgotten quality. Donald Trump, you fought for my family will fight for you.
The fact that he's even saying this or framing it this way is disturbing on so many different levels. If somebody doesn't deserve your loyalty, then you shouldn't be loyal to them, period. There are some people who don't deserve loyalty. The way that this guy views loyalty is just very, very strange and disturbing. And it's the type of language that I expect to hear from a cult member. No joke. And by the way, Donald Trump is the leader of a cult as far as I'm concerned. I just want to put that on record. I'm not dancing around it. I'm not trying to list reasons for it right now. I've already gone through the reasons, and so has the creator of the Byte model, Stephen Hassan. He wrote a whole book about it. Donald Trump is the leader of a cult, the cult of Trump. And the words that this guy is speaking right now are the types of things I expect to hear from cult members.
My family will fight for you. You went in that White House and you made our life better.
In what way? In what way did Donald Trump make your life better, Shane Vaughn? How? Specifically. Give me specifics. Because I'm trying real hard to see it. I can't see a single thing that the guy did that made your life better, honestly.
You made our economy better.
No, absolutely not. As I said earlier, the Dow Jones Industrial Average continued to trend upward as it has since the dawn of time, because that's how it works. It always goes up, always. I think when Donald Trump left office, it was just barely pulled out of this humongous dip as a result of the pandemic. But guess what? It's way, way up now from where it was. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is not a measurement for the economy. It's simply a measurement for investor trust. It's really not a measurement for much. The economy was actually piss poor, in my opinion, when Donald Trump left office. And if you really want to dig into the numbers, the economy is always better during Democratic presidents. Always. I mean, just look at the history of it. Look at how the jobs numbers are. Look at how the stock market is. Look at all of the factors involved. Democratic presidents are better for the economy, objectively. This is not a matter of opinion. That's just what it is.
My family will fight for you. You went in that White House and you made our life better. You made our economy better. You made our churches better.
How? Again, how? This makes no sense. How did Donald Trump do any of this stuff?
You made our churches better. You allowed us the freedom to choose a vaccine if we wanted one or not.
Isn't that a fascinating way of framing that? You let us choose if we want a vaccine or not? The guy was anti-vax originally, and then Donald Trump came out in favor of it, and now he's framing it, you let us choose if we want one or not. Wow.
You fought for our freedom, and I'm not about to start second-guessing your choices and what you do. If you make a mistake, it'll be on you, sir. But I will be loyal. I'm not a Tino.
By the way, Tino is Trumpist in name only, or Trump supporter in name only, I guess, and kind of like Rhino, Republican in name only. He's not a Tino. Trump in name only. Wow. Okay.
I'm not a Tino. I'm not a Valentino. I am a Trump supporter. Why? Because God chose the man, and I've got sense enough to know it, recognize it. I know where the blessing is. Let me tell you something. When you find a blessed man, when you find a blessed ministry, you better plant your feet under that blessing, and it will fall down on top of you.
That's weird. That is straight up weird. And by the way, this is relevant to the next clip I wanted to watch. You can see in the background he's got a cup here that says, I heart Toto. I thought Toto was his dog, right? Especially because there's like a picture of a dog sitting right next to the cup. No. He calls himself Uncle Toto. I don't know why. This is information that I just gained like before coming on air. Very, very strange name to go by. Why don't you go by Shane? If that's your name, right? Go by Shane instead of Toto. Whatever. To each their own. I'm not going to split hairs here. The next clip I want to watch should give you a frame of reference for how he views the world. Every clip that we've seen up to this point was him looking at different situations from a certain perspective. From the perspective of Trump love, basically, right? But it's not just those situations. It's not just vaccine related. It's everything. Everything somehow routes back to Donald Trump. You know why? Because Donald Trump somehow routes back to God in his mind. He believes Trump is God's pick. He's God's guy. He thinks he's like a Messiah level type of person. Some people see God in everything. this guy, no joke, sees Trump in everything in the same way that some people see God in everything, because they're nearly synonymous in his mind at this point. So this is Shane Vaughn talking about Elon Musk buying Twitter, and this is how he sees that event from the perspective of how it will affect Donald Trump. Always comes back to Donald Trump. Late April 2022.
Do you really believe Elon Musk is a conservative that gives one a hoot about our Constitution?
Well, you know, I'm going to answer that question personally, though he wasn't really asking me. I don't think that Elon Musk is conservative, and I don't think that he gives a hoot about the Constitution. I think he gives a hoot about money. And I think he's recognized that conservatism is the quickest, easiest way to make more money. By, you know, lowering taxes, of course. And they're also easier to sucker, it seems to me, and slower to cancel when you do something wrong. And that's why I think he's been appealing to the right a lot lately. For those of you who wonder why I don't like Elon Musk, let me just give you a few reasons right off the top of my head. There's this article on Vanity Fair that lists that has a short list of reasons that people believe that Elon Musk is on the right. I don't agree with all of them. I think some of them are unfair characterizations and stuff like that. So let me read through just a couple items on the list real quick. March 2020, he claimed that people worried about coronavirus were dumb. That right there is enough for me to be upset with Elon Musk. He knew full well what we were dealing with, and he encouraged people to take it less seriously. There is a cult following around Elon Musk, and his cult following took it less seriously because he didn't take it seriously, at least not publicly. That one alone is enough for me to not like the guy. He predicted on March 19th, 2020 that the U.S. was going to have close to 0 cases by the end of April. That's ridiculous. Questioned the safety of the vaccines and baselessly asserted that there were quite a few negative reactions to getting a second shot. Nonsense. It's BS. And it was absolutely harmful to society that he did that. A lot of his Twitter stuff that he does, I can overlook. There was a point in time where he made fun of a guy in Thailand and said he was that was stupid, but people make stupid mistakes. I can kind of overlook that. He was an idiot for doing that, but I'll overlook it. I can't overlook the pandemic stuff. I can't overlook him forcing his workers to go back to work in the middle of the pandemic. I can't overlook using Twitter to engage in securities fraud. There's a lot of stuff I can't overlook. I get that the guy has a strange personality or a different personality, and sometimes he says things off the cuff that he probably shouldn't have said. I get that, and I can forgive a lot. But denying science, putting people's lives at risk, and committing securities fraud, taking advantage of people, I'm not down with it. That's why I don't like Elon Musk, if anybody was wondering. Anyway, let's keep listening to Shane Vaughn, because obviously he doesn't like Elon Musk either. We have that in common, apparently.
Do you really believe Elon Musk is a conservative that gives one a hoot about our Constitution? If you do, I have got property, oceanfront in Arizona. He could care less about free speech. Something ain't right about that man. Anyway.
You could care less about free speech. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Elon Musk really cares about free speech or not. It's hard to know what his intentions are, but I know that he's really only in it for the money. And anybody who thinks that he's some kind of god, they need to take the rose-colored glasses off and think things through a little more clearly.
So let's call Uncle Elon and tell him we got to stop Donald Trump. We got to stop Truth Social. So how do we do it? Well, we can't admit we were wrong. We can't just all of a sudden change our policies back to the way they were. We can't just say, oh, well, we messed up. But we could get bought out and let whoever buys us out clean it back up. We make a whole bunch of money in the process. All the conservatives come back. Twitter carries on. So
yeah, see, here's the hang up in this ridiculous scenario this guy is laying out. He seems to think that Twitter really cares about getting Donald Trump or his supporters back on Twitter. I truly don't think that Twitter cared about that at all. But the scenario he's laying out here is one where Twitter is trying to get one over on Donald Trump or something, and they're using Elon Musk to do it. It's just ridiculous from the ground up. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Carries on. So we call Elon and we have him make an offer, and then of course we reject it. That way it looks like we're negotiating. Comes back and all of a sudden, offer accepted. Bye-bye. We're out of here. We're going to the bank laughing. You can have it, Elon. All the conservatives come back. Let's shut down Truth Social. No need for it anymore.
And there it is. He's got his own little conspiracy theory here, and the conspiracy theory is Elon Musk was suckered into buying Twitter because Twitter was trying to get one over on Truth Social. They were trying to hurt Donald Trump's social network or whatever. That is one humdinger of a conspiracy.
They think that we're dumb, and a lot of people are. But your humble neighborhood Professor Toto.
There it is. Professor Toto is what he calls himself. Did he say umple with a P? I think he did. But your umple?
But your humble...
He absolutely did. He said umple with a P. U-M-P-L-E.
But your humble neighborhood Professor Toto is always watching out for these rascals. So, it's a scam. Absolutely, Sister Kimberly Melton. It's a scam.
Oh, that's painful. That is painful. He's doing duck lips. You know he's looking in the camera right now, looking at himself, and he's making faces because he thinks he wants to look cute. Like an Instagram model. This is so cringy, dude. Oh, I hurt inside. I want to vomit right now because it's so cringy. Come on, Shane. Don't look in the camera when you're streaming because it's too cringy to watch.
Scam. But we pulling back the curtain on those liberal lies.
The point here is that Shane Vaughn will go to any lengths to view Donald Trump as the victim of every situation. He sees Trump in everything like others see God in everything, for obvious reasons. And he seems to have seen Trump in this situation too. Somehow, he routed Twitter being sold to Elon Musk back to Donald Trump being persecuted. This is persecution of Donald Trump, as if the world revolves around Donald Trump. It's bizarre to watch. If you think that's a stretch, let me know. I'm on Twitter. Tweet at me, @TelltaleAtheist. Let me know what you think.